For years now, Apple has completely dominated the tablet market, but now it has some serious competition. I'm Taylor Martin, this is Pocket Now, and this is the Apple iPad mini versus the Samsung Galaxy Note 8.0. In the tablet market, Apple has largely ruled the plane, but over the last year, thanks to several high-end Android tablets with highly competitive price tags, Android OEMs have started to make some headway in the tablet realm, cutting into Apple's significant market share lead and slowly bringing Android tablets into the mainstream. One of the few manufacturers bringing Android tablets up to speed is, unsurprisingly, Samsung. Its Galaxy Tab line is relatively successful, but the brand that's truly turning heads is the Galaxy Note lineup, thanks to the added utility of the S Pen. At Mobile World Congress in February, Samsung announced one addition to the Galaxy Note lineup, the Galaxy Note 8.0, boasting high-end specifications and a horde of software features that set it apart from the competition. But how does Samsung's latest mid-sized tablet fare against its toughest competitor, Apple's wildly popular iPad mini? Surprisingly well. The first matters are hardware and design, both in which Apple's mid-sized tablet win by a wide margin. The iPad mini's design is not unlike that of the iPhone 5. Its shell is made of anodized aluminum, making it both feel great in the hand and relatively durable. Not to mention, it feels extremely lightweight for a 7.9-inch device. Its buttons are solid, the design is minimal, and there is almost no bezel on the sides. It's not that the Galaxy Note 8.0's hardware is bad, but it's unmoving. Like virtually every other Galaxy device from Samsung, the Note 8.0 is made almost entirely of plastic, and it shares the same mundane design as all its siblings: wide radius corners, lightweight plastic, and faux brushed metal trim along the edges. In fact, it's practically a much larger Galaxy S4 with an S Pen. The Note 8.0 is also larger than the iPad mini in all dimensions. It's taller by 10.8mm, wider by 1.2mm, and thicker by 0.8mm. It's also 30 grams heavier and has a 0.1-inch larger display, yet features much more bezel on the sides. The worst part of the Note 8.0's design, however, is the inclusion of a camera hump around back. On a device as large as the Note 8.0, there's no excuse for a notable camera hump. One, because the rear camera is not a notable feature, and two, because there are thinner smartphones with larger sensors and no camera hump. Both devices are geared towards consumers seeking a powerful, ultra-portable device with a large display, and both Samsung and Apple succeed. Apple simply does it with more class. Once you look under the hood, however, it's apparent where Apple's and Samsung's priorities lie. The Galaxy Note 8.0 may not be as pretty as the iPad mini, it may not be as small, lightweight, or nearly bezel-less, but it's packed with raw horsepower, whereas the iPad mini is much more conservative. The Note 8.0 has a distinct advantage in terms of specifications. Granted, the iPad mini doesn't need a ton of horsepower to run smoothly. The Galaxy Note 8.0 comes with a 1.6 GHz quad-core Exynos chipset, 2 GB of RAM, either 16 or 32 GB of built-in storage, a microSD card slot for expansion, 5-megapixel rear camera, 1.3 megapixel front-facing camera, and a 4600 mAh battery. The iPad mini features a 1 GHz dual-core A5 chip, 512 MB of RAM, 16, 32, or 64 GB of built-in storage, a 5-megapixel camera around back, 1.2 megapixel camera on the front, and a 16.3 watt-hour battery. On tablets, displays are generally make-or-break features. Unfortunately, in the mid-size sector, no tablet has a killer display. Both the iPad mini and the Galaxy Note 8.0 feature mediocre displays. The Note 8.0 display measures 8 inches diagonally and sports a resolution of 1280 by 800 pixels for a density of 189 pixels per inch. The iPad mini's display measures 7.9 inches with a resolution of 1024 by 768 pixels, or 162 pixels per inch. The Note 8.0 has a distinct advantage in sharpness and saturation, but make no mistake, both of these displays will be rather disappointing next to the ultra-high density display on your smartphone. Pixelation can be viewed from a distance, and although viewing angles are fine, the contrast and color reproduction is paltry compared to other displays. Between the Note 8.0 and the iPad mini, when it comes to hardware, design and specifications, it's a toss-up. You're either looking at a device that's gorgeous but conservative in specifications, or a device that's not nearly as polished, made of cheap materials but packed with top-notch specs. When it comes to tablets, though, software plays a major role in the usefulness of a device. Content on the iOS App Store, even for tablets, is chock full of quality applications. It's generally the first stop for developers and has resulted in hundreds of thousands of tablet-compatible applications for download. While the iOS software itself may be dating poorly, the content within the App Store is what's keeping the iPad brand relevant and even ahead of the competition. On Android, the story was once quite different. One had to search high and low for decent tablet applications. But high-quality tablet apps have slowly found their way to Android too, though not nearly to the same degree just yet. There are tablet applications to be had, but there are still a ton of apps out there, Facebook for example, that do not support tablets. Once you look past the application support, however, the Galaxy Note 8.0 jumps ahead, way ahead. The iPad mini features virtually the same exact software as the much smaller iPhone. Sure, the homepage has been updated to hold more icons and folders, and the settings application is paying to be better optimized for extra real estate. Other than that, there is nothing truly compelling or unique about how the iPad mini operates. There is no true multitasking, no additional features aside from the display size that make it any different from using an iPhone. The Galaxy Note 8.0 comes with the S Pen, which not only acts as a stylus, but as a tool that unlocks more unique software features on the tablet. Hold the button on the S Pen and double tap the display. The S Note will open atop the current application. Hold the button on the S Pen and long press on the display. A screenshot is taken. Or press the button on the S Pen and outline a section of the display where you want to capture, and it saves the selection as a clipping for pasting into S Note. The Note 8.0 also comes with the multi-window feature, which allows the user to run two applications side by side. The application selection may not be nearly as developed on Android, but on 8-inch tablets that's less of an issue than it is with full-size tablets. And when you have such expansive and useful software features like multi-window or pop-up note, it's hard to deny that the Note 8.0 has a leg up on the iPad mini in terms of software. Content is something that comes with time, something that more of is being added to Android by the week. As far as everyday tasks go, the Note 8.0 and iPad mini excel in performance, rarely skipping a beat or bogging down. Both tablets feature enough horsepower to push through common tasks with ease. But when something more graphically intensive is thrown into the mix, the iPad mini's dual-core A5 chipset does tend to get bogged down. While playing The Amazing Spider-Man on the Galaxy Note 8.0, everything is buttery smooth, from swinging to intense fight scenes. On the iPad mini, the entire gameplay is choppy. Such is the case for a few other games too, though more lightweight games play just fine. It's difficult to compare performance between two completely different operating systems. In the mobile space, there aren't too many software-agnostic synthetic benchmarks. But if the SunSpider JavaScript test is any indication to the difference in horsepower between the two mid-sized tablets, the Note 8.0 has very little to worry about. The Galaxy Note 8.0 ran circles around the iPad mini with an average of 962.8 milliseconds to the iPad mini's higher 1449.8 millisecond average. In the SunSpider test, lower is better. Battery life is an important factor with any mobile device. Without a long-lasting battery, you'll stay tied to an outlet, which is hardly mobile. In normal use, both the iPad mini and the Galaxy Note 8.0 last well over a full day. I struggled to kill either tablet in a single day when performing routine tasks, browsing the web, email, social media, watching YouTube videos, light photo editing, taking notes, and some instant messaging. Both lasted, on average, about a day and a half. Outside of normal usage, either extremely heavy usage or no usage at all, total standby, the iPad mini takes the cake. It easily lasts upwards of a week on standby, but the Galaxy Note 8.0 needed to be plugged in after just a couple days of standby. And in extremely heavy usage, the Galaxy Note 8.0's 4600 mAh battery seems to drain notably quicker than the iPad mini's, likely due to the extra horsepower under the hood. Lastly, the cameras on the two devices will hardly knock your socks off. Both are equipped with 5-megapixel cameras, and, for the most part, they compare with most smartphone cameras from a few years ago. Images lack the level of detail we're used to seeing in 8-megapixel cameras and beyond. Colors are pretty washed out, and seriously taking pictures with a tablet looks plain silly, but that's your own prerogative. On a serious note, tablet cameras are great for record keeping, and both the Galaxy Note 8.0's and iPad mini shooters will suffice for video calls and snapping stills in a pinch. Both the Galaxy Note 8.0 and iPad mini are fine specimens in the mid-sized tablet market. Through most tasks, they perform quite well, and they're both ultra-portable, exactly what Samsung and Apple intended when building these tablets. However, it's hard to overlook the most disappointing feature of all mid-sized tablets: display quality. When 5-inch smartphones feature 1080p displays and 10-inch tablets feature displays double that resolution, it's hard to understand why 7-inch and 8-inch tablets still feature WXGA and 720p resolution. The density is so low, comparatively, that it's difficult to look at the iPad mini or Note 8.0 and be impressed with the display. That aside, the Note 8.0 and iPad mini are easily the best mid-sized tablets money can currently buy. With the S Pen and multitasking features, the Note 8.0 offers the perfect amount of utility for an 8-inch tablet. and the seemingly endless supply of content along with its superior design and build keep the iPad mini, though slightly underpowered, in the running for the best mid-sized tablet. If you can deal with some content gaps and a lower quality build, the Galaxy Note 8.0 is for you. However, if you're after a premium tablet and don't need excessive multitasking, the iPad mini is probably your best choice. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. You can find us on all of your favorite social networks, Google+, Twitter, and Facebook at Pocket Now. You can find my personal account on Twitter at CasperTech. I'm Taylor Martin, and I will see you next time.